guys, Sunday, and it's really crappy out. It's cold. I think we barely hit 50 degrees today, uh, and it's going to start pouring anytime. It's supposed to rain all night and most of the day tomorrow. That's a good thing though. We need the rain badly, and it might help get a handle on this forest fire thing that's going on. So yeah, we need it. It's been like 3 weeks since we had any real rain, so whatever. Anyway, that's going to keep me inside the garage. So I'm going to get back on the wiring. Probably get one of the harnesses in anyway. Maybe the front one first. I ordered some grommets for it. They're supposed to be in tomorrow. Hopefully they come in early enough, so I can drill some holes and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, yeah, I'll start with the front one. I'm going to clarify something on the back harness. I got a lot of grief for it in the first video on the wiring. My bad, I just didn't show it right. But I'll show you that in a minute anyhow. And so yeah, we might as well just get after it, man. Okay, so here's the rear harness that I put together, and this is where all the hubbub was about. Anyway, I had two wires that I ran together, backup and or not backup, brake light and signal light. So I marked them, both sides. But I had the two wires grouped together, and a lot of guys thought I only ran one wire. No, you need a left and a right. So here's the second one. Kind of fold it up here. Turn signal, save the signal, and brake. So two wires, one left, one right. So, and I still have my spare, the yellow one. So, but yeah, a lot of guys thought I only ran one wire, and they're giving me shit, telling me you're doing it wrong. They're always quick to tell you you're doing it wrong. But anyway, there you go. So, but that's going to be run after, I think, the second run. I'm going to do the front one first, and that's over here. So again, we're dealing with left and right with headlights, and the signal lights are, I believe, in the grill. So I collected a bunch of this stuff from upstairs. Wire loom to, it's just like miniature, what do you call it, weeping tile, sliced in half, and you run your wire in there, and it's a protector and keeps things clean and tidy. I got different sizes, 1.25 inch, 1 inch, 3/4, whatever, because as you get further along down the harness and things are terminated, you're getting down to fewer wires, so you use a smaller loom. That's all. Anyhow, yeah, like I said, I ordered the grommets. They're supposed to be here tomorrow. Hopefully they get here early enough. We'll see. I mean, I just ordered them this morning, so I don't see it coming too early tomorrow. But we'll see what happens. Anyhow, I'm going to get after this. All right. So my thinking is to mount the fuse box. I'm thinking somewhere in this area here. Because you don't want to be in the way with the brake pedal or throttle or any of that other stuff. So yeah, that's looking like probably the best place, out of the way and kind of out of sight, So I would put my holes, up here somewhere, kind of beside the booster, or just below it. I'm not sure what would look best. It's definitely going to be in that area. So I'm looking at holes. Probably down around this area here somewhere. That's where I'll feed my main harness through. I'm going to think about this for a little bit. Then I also got to decide on where am I going to run it. Am I going to run it, along the inner fender? Or am I going to loop it out through this little hole here and sneak it underneath and hide it completely? I don't know. Should have thought about this a little bit more before I started filming. Anyway, something to think about, and I'm not going to drill the holes until I have the grommets here anyway, so I'm just going to prepare the harness to get it in place. Okay, so I kind of sort of have the front one done in, dialed in. And if you're wondering what kind of tape I'm using this stuff here. It's hockey tape. That's what we call it up here anyway. You know, it's the stuff that guys put on the blade of their hockey stick and on the end of it. You know, they make a big knob out of it so that they can hang on to their stick while they're playing. In the States, I don't know, there might be another name for it. I don't know. But here in Canada, it's hockey tape. And I use it because it's not shiny like electrical tape. So it's, you know, a little more subtle. And it doesn't start to peel off like electrical tape does after a while. So this end here, you follow along, that goes into the firewall under the dash. And we got to get up to the front headlight, which is where these go. And one of these is a signal light, and the yellow one again is a spare. So, you know, I may have to splice onto the signal one. I might need a little bit more wire, or I might have to cut this back yet. I don't know. But that's the left side, and then we continue on with the right side, and there's 3 wires: a headlight, high beam, and a signal again. And this black wire is the horn. So I'm not sure exactly where I'm mounting my horn, so I left it extra, and you know, I'll pull it out wherever I need to. I'm thinking the horn may go, you know, somewhere here, you know, mounted sideways or something like that. I haven't quite figured it out yet. I got to see how the grill fits and other things before I go ahead and put that in. So the wire is there anyway. So that's basically the front one. So I guess I can start messing around with the rear one. And that's pretty much just go all the way straight back. So it's pretty simple. So I'm going to wrap this up, put it away for now, and get started on the rear one. All right, so as you can see, I got the rear one covered up to well past the back of the cab, so we're good there. So at this point, there's a couple of things I want to do. Number one is I'm going to label the wires on the other end of the harness. You know, because I'm not going to be hooking it up right away. I mean, there's nothing to hook it up to. So instead of sticking my head inside the cab and running to the back of the truck 4,500 times when I go to hook stuff up, I'll have everything labeled, and I'll know where it goes, and I don't have to worry about all that. Another thing I want to do, well, here in the front harness, I used a bigger loom, like a 1-inch, and because I want to combine the 2 harnesses together. And sure enough, like, all the wires do fit inside. So I'm going to leave myself a little bit of slack. I'm going to cut this back. I was just testing to see if I could get them all in there. So yeah, I want to combine the 2. So I only have to drill 1 hole. And all my lighting and all that stuff is done. And the ignition is probably going to run under the dash to the right side of the truck, and where all the where the battery and everything is going to be. So yeah. Once I get the grommets in, apparently they're going to be delivered within 3 hours. So I'm going to cut this back, and I'll prep it all, drop it in place, and then I'll be able to drill my hole and feed this into the cab. So, you know, it's not really that bad. I don't have to label the other end of the front harness because it's pretty straightforward. You've got the short wire is your left side of your truck, and the long wire, because it's going to, you know, to the opposite side of the truck, is the right. So you got a high, low beam and a turn signal at each on each side, and then, like I said, that black wire is the horn, and I'm just going to leave that in the center somewhere and hook it up, you know, wherever I happen to put the horn. So pretty simple. You know, it looks a lot more complicated than it is. It's really quite simple. All this loom stuff I had it upstairs in various boxes. When I bought my hoist off the garage, it was closing down. I bought 3 complete Chevy truck wiring harnesses, like newer stuff, for $10. He just threw them in a big box. So that's where I got all this material from. My buddy, who is a mechanic for the city, he recommended using factory original loom material because the stuff you get at Princess or whatever isn't as good, and just this stuff is much better. So anyway, there we go. Should be nice and clean looking. And as soon as my grommets come in, I'll drill a hole, feed this into the cab, and run it to where I've got to run it. So there you go. All right, so here's my harness. I put it together. Here's a grommet right here. So that's going to go in the hole that I'm drilling. And I'm going to drill a hole right there. It's kind of under the brake booster, kind of out of the way. I got that far with the hole, and both my friggin' batteries are dead in the cordless. So while that charges up, you know, I'm just going to have to wait and do something else. But I'll get that hole drilled, and then we'll get the, you know, I'll clean up the burrs and stuff on the edge inside, and snap the grommet in place. And then, you know, I've got this run here. I guess I'll just run, I don't know if I might just run it down, drill a hole into the inner fender and run it on the inside out of sight. And then the back one will just go down the firewall and out towards the back. Pretty plain and simple. Should be fairly clean looking. And yeah. So anyway, as you can see from the front, you won't even see the harness coming out of the firewall. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for, something clean. Anyway, I'll wait for those damn batteries to charge. Maybe I'll have a spot of tea. All right, so I have a plan. So there you go. My grommet's in. Wires are inside the cab. It's good, solid. Yeah, there's the bottom one. That's just gonna, like I said, scooch down the firewall and out the back. And that's what I'm gonna do. My plan is I'm gonna drill a hole here, roughly, and feed the harness through. And these bolts here, mount the fenders on, they're long enough that there's enough thread on the inside that I can hang some clamps on there to hold the harness in place, keep it up high, run it over to my headlight, and yeah, I think we're in good shape. So the kind of clamps I'm talking about, they're, let's see, I got them here. This style here. So yeah, you just hook them on. I don't know if I can open this. Well, here's a different style. These are smaller, but same idea. So I'll put these two on a bolt with my harness inside, and throw a nut on it, and call it done. These ones here are bigger diameter, so they'll fit the harness no problem. So I must leave them out because I'm going to use them. So there you go. That's the plan. So let's see how it works out. Okay, so there you go. Here's the top. Goes through the fender into the cab, and then down for the rear. That's all you're going to see. I think it's pretty clean. And like I said, I used the fender mounting bolts. I put one of those clamps on. I'm going to put another one on after, I think, but I don't know if you can see that, but there we go. So yeah. And there's my wires now. So one of these wires is the signal light. Yeah, so, and the spare. The yellow is the spare. So the signal light, I'm going to drill a hole through here because the signal light's right here in the corner of the grill, top corner. So it's right where it needs to be. And you know, it just went down underneath, zip tied it to the frame. And here we go. Same deal here. The black wire, like I said, is the horn wire. So I'll probably separate that out. I'm gonna leave it there for now because you know, I might have the horn. I don't know. I'm not sure where, but I can pull it out from here if I want, and yeah, we'll be fine. So all good. There was a lot of dicking around though, mostly because I was fighting around with the step bits. I had a dull freaking bit, so I went to Canadian Tire. They had a sale. 2 of them were $60 on sale, and then they had a package of 5 for $42. Wow, the hell with the sale. I'll take the package of 5. So that's what I bought. So good to go. The bottom, or the back I should say, I'm just gonna pull it back and hang it off a cross member with some zip ties, keep it off the ground. You know, I'm not gonna fasten it to the frame or anything. I'll wait till I get the truck in the air, because I'm not crawling around down there doing that. Not when I've got one of these things, you know, perfectly good working hoist. Get it up in the air and take your time and get it all in and done. So yeah, like I said, strap it to a cross member or two, and call it done for the day as far as that goes. And then inside the cab, so here's my wires here, right, and they come in right from there. So yeah, no worries here, all good. And you know, you got to remember, here's your brake switch, and you're gonna have a dimmer switch on the floor. You know, you'll stomp on it to dim the lights and brighten them. And your steering column, there's a plug near the bottom of that. So a lot of this wiring is set up for right here. There's really only one wire that comes up to the dash, and that's going to the headlight switch. So you know, I might have to splice one wire on. I'm not sure exactly how this is all gonna go together, but you know, I've got the main thing run, and we'll call it roughed in. So yeah, right on. And then I guess I'll probably mount the fuse box just above where the wires came in, and you know, keep it up and hidden. So it's good. Here's my grommet set that I picked up. So I just used 2 of these, the big ones, and the rest I haven't used them. So, but you always use grommets. It's always good to have extras. So there you have it. Yeah, I guess I'll hang that rear wire up and then move on to other things. Okay, so there you go. That's part 2 of wiring. Next step is inside the cab, I guess. Get that fuse panel in. I've got to get my steering column in place first, which means I've got to pick up the interior first. So, because I need the seat to position the steering column in order to run the wiring. So it's one of those chicken and the egg things. You know, you got to do things in a certain order. So I know the seat's ready and everything's ready to go, so I should be able to pick that up in a day or so, and then we can carry on from there. You know, this part of the wiring that I just did is probably the easiest part. The rest is tracing stuff back to the fuse panel, and you got all your switches and all that stuff. Basically, the fuse panel just gets you to all those switches. On the other side of the switch is what this wiring I did in the past 2 days takes care of. So, you know, so I've got to buy some switches and some little lights and knobs and what have you. I'll try and figure out exactly what I need. As far as a wiper goes, on these trucks they're vacuum originally, a vacuum powered wiper motor, but because now we're running power brakes, there's a vacuum line to the transmission. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we're going to make enough vacuum to work the wipers, so may have to convert to an electric. They do make a kit, bolt-in job. I'm sure it costs an arm and a leg. I haven't looked at the price yet, but I know they make it. So we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, good bunch of new subscribers. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You know, spread the word. Tell your buddies. If everybody tells one other friend, hey, that's a good bunch of guys. So if you have subscribed already, thank you, like I said, and if you haven't, please do. You know, over half my viewers are not subscribed, so even if I get 10% of those, 10-15% of those, my subscriptions will go right up. And you know, once I get to a certain point, I don't even know what the acceptable subscription level is before you start, you know, offering t-shirts or prizes or giveaways and shit like that. But I know it's going to be more than what I have now, because you know, just not feasible. But yeah, so please subscribe. And you know, if you're not doing anything else, get out of the garage and build something, man. Later, guys.